All right, so we got another crazy division in the AFC. No surprises here. We got the AFC North, a division I've seen with a lot of polarizing answers on who's going to win the division. So, who do you have actually winning the AFC North?
As you know, I got the Ravens like easily. I think that just looking at the Bengals schedule, like the Bengals have like I was talking to somebody about this like a few months back. Like the Bengals face some dogs this year. Like,
Yeah,
granted, like obviously the Ravens will face some of those guys too, but like the Ravens, the Bengals play, I believe, obviously, they can play the Steelers twice, Ravens twice. Obviously, I don't know who they're gonna play. Browns. I mean, I don't know which quarterback's gonna play. I think chance of Sean Watson to spend the whole year. But
yeah, they
even
play
even
Dallas.
even
So
yeah,
they
even if
play
you
the Saints. They
right,
got the Browns, but Deshaun. They play
right.
the Chiefs, the Titans. They got Tampa Bay, New England, the Bills. Like they got
Patriots.
Patriots. Like
Yeah, like what I'm saying? Like, yeah, they beat the Chiefs before, but like you gotta beat them again, you know what I'm saying? Like they play on the road. I don't think the Titans will be that good this year, but that's still a tough road game. Like their schedule is hellacious. Like I'm looking at it, bro. Like there's not that many like cakewalks. You know what I'm saying?
it's not.
Like the Jets perceivably should be a cakewalk for them. They should win this Dolphins game, the Saints game, the Falcons game.
Yeah.
That's the only games where I'm like, yeah, they should win that. The Panthers game, that's the only I'm like, yeah, they should win that. Everything else is like, a toss up. And possibly both of the Browns games, Deshaun Watson doesn't play. But then the Ravens, yes, they face a
Giants. Yeah, they got the Giants, the Jags on here.
yeah, like the Ravens, you know what I'm saying? Like, because a lot of this doesn't really come down to how good your team is. It comes down to like who are you playing too, like
Yeah.
that's how the Dolphins finished 9-8 last year. It's because they played the Texans, the Jets twice, the Saints with Ian Buck, the Giants with Glennon.
Yeah,
They
Mike
played,
Glennon.
yeah, they played a lot of junk down the stretch. That's why they were able to get to 9 wins. But the Ravens, bro, they played like the Jags.
Yeah.
They played
What do you think about the receiving core? Now, I don't think it really
I'm
matters
not worried
much to
about
other
that. I'm not worried
team.
about that. That's overblown because their scheme is built around their tight ends. From the passing perspective, it's built around the tight ends. So like that's not really that much of a thing. Like I've seen a lot of Jeff fans mention like, oh, week one, like they don't got a receiver, bro. Like if you watch the Ravens, like receivers are
Yeah.
interchangeable.
And they just drafted two more tight ends in this year's draft. Like
Yeah, like
clearly we know the focus of the team.
exactly. Like that's where their passing game. It's through the tight ends. Like they create mismatches in the pass game for the tight ends. It's not for the receivers. That's why Marquise Brown asked out. Like people talk about, oh, Marquise Brown had a whole bunch of targets, bro. That's not what he was talking about. Yeah, he got targets, but where are those targets coming from, right? A receiver don't want to always run like a fly, a post, and
Yeah.
maybe like a stop route or a hitch route. Like what I'm saying? Like they want to get put in motion. They want to get put in slots sometimes where they can run certain things, like whether it's getting put in motion across the field so they can run an out route, you know what I'm saying, or run like a 10-yard hour. Then create legitimate mismatch, put receivers in motions because when you do that, then
Yeah.
that forces the defense to have to communicate and change their coverage a little bit and change responsibilities, which can lead to easy completion because it can cause breakdowns. But the Ravens don't do that much for the receivers. That's
Yeah.
why he wanted out. But that's why I'm not that worried about that aspect for the Ravens.
And I like Bateman though. They did draft a receiver in the first round
Yeah,
last year.
Bateman straight. You know what I'm saying? They still got the kick returner from
Yeah,
Texas.
Devin Duvernay. Yeah.
Yeah, they still have him. He's solid. You know what I'm saying? Like
Shea, still got Mark Andrews.
right,
Like,
and they still have Lamar Jackson. Like they still
yeah,
have Lamar Jackson, and they run a read option, wide zone type of attack. Like they're gonna be just fine. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
their attack is through the rain game. You know what I'm saying? And playing off of that. Like that's what.
Also, I feel like people forgot they were still good last year. J.K. Dobbins didn't play a game. Gus Edwards, who was 5 yards a carry for his damn near career, didn't play a game. Like they were like freaking Devontae Freeman.
Right.
Like these are they're gonna get all their running backs back. And for this team, usually for teams, running game is like it don't matter as much. This team, it's everything. So
Right.
it's
And the
like
defense
they're
is
getting
gonna be
all those
fantastic.
guys back. They drafted two tight ends in the draft. I think one of them is going to be really good. So it's like you still have Mark Andrews. Like I have them win it as well because the scheduling and just the way they play and the defense, I think it's going to be better this year. They
The
get
defense
all
is
the
gonna be
corners back. They get Peters back. You get Humphrey back. Like they got some guys. Like they drafted Cal Hamilton, who's supposed to be like, what is that, top, 5 pick, basically ran a slow 40. And the guy is like going to fall like, dang near 15. So it's like, they still got Chuck Clark. Like, they signed Marcus Williams, who's one of the best free safeties. Like, the defense is going to be really good. And then with the Bengals, now, I do think they have the best receiving core, at least top 3 in the league. Now, I liked what they did with their O-line, even over what the Chiefs did, because they didn't spend as much money. So they still invested in the O-line, but like, you don't need stars. You just need good players. There's no weakness. There's no bad player on the O-line. And you have a good O-line. And you have a top 10 unit probably now. Yeah. So I like what the Bengals did. It's just the schedule is a dogfight, and they're so young of a team. And Burrow, the only thing that scares me is just have Burrow. But like the Ravens have Lamar, but like Burrow is just so like, they have 2 guys. I think the teams are like you don't want to play Lamar Jackson, especially in the regular season. Like every game is like, come on, bro. But then you're like with Burrow, it's like the attitude and like Burrow is like that the player, like the moxie guy that the league has been waiting for at the position. Like he might not be the absolute most talented player, but it's something about him that just seems like players are just gonna play better with him. They signed Hayden Hurst. They lost to Zuma, but they signed Hayden Hurst. Don't think the tight end is going to be bad. I think it's between those two. I love to see the Browns, but I don't think Deshaun Watson plays a game. Like I just think he's going to get suspended. Like Jacoby Brissett is good, and the roster is amazing. In Cleveland, I guess. They're going to win games. Like even with Brissett, because Nick Chubb is that good, Kareem Hunt is that good, Amari Cooper, you still have a team. But like if Deshaun don't play the whole season, like what are we talking about? So it's like the Browns and the Steelers are just like. I love Mike Tomlin, but look, this might be the year that little streak of his.
Yeah.
like,
this might be the year.
This might be the year. Like, I don't want to bet against him. I'm always going for him just because, but it just seemed like the streak just goes down. I mean, I admit Trubisky and Pickett, like this. I think this is the year the streak goes down. But the Ravens, Bengals, I think are your top 2. Like, I think the Bengals are still going to be a really good team. Like. And the defense might be, I mean, they kept everybody on defense for real. They got it. I mean, what's the safety? They don't have him he's holding out. It's not Jesse Bates. Or is it Jesse Bates? Yeah. So it's Jesse Bates, but then they drafted Dax Hill from Michigan. So it's like, not he's going to be good as a all-pro safety.
But Dax Hill is more of like a slot. Well, I mean, he could play.
Yeah. He's not the deep, because Jesse Bates was one of the best, like, deep safeties. Like, they're running deep coverage where he's by himself back there. Like, at that. But, like, it's going to be interesting. I think they drafted really well. The coach seems like, I ain't gonna lie, I wasn't sold before last year, but I mean, what can you say? He seemed like he did pretty good. The Bengals head coach, Zach Taylor.
It's so funny with head coach, that discussion on just coaches overall. So much of it is result based.
Yes.
Because like fans, media, like 99.9% of us have no idea like what goes into coaching and like what makes a coach good and how difficult coaching is. Like there's so many variables that go into being a head coach that, like we kind of just go out based off of what narratives are. You know what I'm saying? Like we talk about play calling, but like a lot of play calling comes down to your players executing. And then like, like there's so much that goes into play calling that like granted, like there's like when it's obvious, like Adam Gase 2020 with the Jets, or like Hugh Jackson is last year, his second last year Cleveland, but like there's so much in between where we don't really know at all. We just kind of go result based, and then that's fair. Like that's fair, but like a lot of it comes down to having good players. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have good players, you're not gonna be a good coach. Like it don't matter what level of sports you at.
Yeah,
you got good players, you're not gonna have a good team. So.
And the Bengals didn't with his early years. Like I mean, Burrow was even down. Andy Dalton ain't it. Like ain't been at 2016. So it's like he was kind of fighting the odds, and now you see when he had a team that had a leader at the most position, he was good.
They just based like coaching off of like how good do you call plays when like
so much.
That's not the end all be all when it comes to like being a head coach. Like there's so much more. Like you have to. Coaches actually don't even really. Well, head coaches for the most part, they don't really interact with the team that much. They don't interact with them here and there, but like they're more interacting with their coach, like their actual coaching staff. Like the coaching staff interacts with like assistant coaches, offensive coordinator, defense. They interact with the players way more than the head coaches. So like a lot of your success comes down to what type of coaching staff you hire. Like Matt McCarthy, he hired a really good coaching staff, which helped them win 12 games last year, right? Kellen Moore is a good offensive coordinator, and
Dan
Dan
Quinn.
Quinn is a good defensive coordinator. Like that matters, right? Like first year he hired Mike Nolan,
Yeah, Matt
and
Nolan
it was
trash.
terrible, right?
Yeah.
And Zach that got hurt also, but like there's just so much that goes into being a coach that it's not as simple as the win-loss record. It's not simple as just calling plays, but I think in the media and even with fans, like we've kind of like just jawed it down to that when like there's just so much more that goes into it. That's my head coach critique rant. Like we even do that in basketball. Like the same shit happens in
Yeah.
basketball, and it's just like it's I don't it's lazy. I'll call it that. It's just
Yeah,
lazy.
lazy narrative.
Yeah. So
Yeah, because I think because Tomlin used to get a lot of the flack for that because he's not necessarily the best play caller necessarily,
but he
but
doesn't call
clearly,
plays.
yeah. So it's like, and his coordinators haven't been good. If we're just being honest, they haven't been good for like especially since LeBeau left. So it's like, but he's gotten it done because of the other stuff that isn't just like on the stat sheet, like just being okay. Do your players actually listen to you? Do they respect you? Do they play for you? If your team's in at halftime, what are you saying to get your coordinators to probably, just calm down and first getting the players to come out of the locker room and be riled up? So I think like you said, those are things, especially if you're like a casual fan to the media, it's just like, it's hard to see through that. So yeah, but then my last thing that I think people are also kind of forgetting about the Ravens, the D line is going to be really good. They're not Clay's kind of a little old and everything, yada yada yada.
A little.
Yeah, but I mean, he's still good. But like he still does, like he's still decent. Like he still is a good player. Then you still got the guy. They had a first round pick. I forget it's Odafe from Penn State. Literally, him and Micah were the pass rushers at Penn State. He's coming in the year too. He has all the traits. It's going to be. I think their D line is going to be good, and it seems like it doesn't matter who the heck it plays D end for the Ravens. They just produce. So it's just like they just keep producing. So I think people are also just going to continue to underrate that Ravens D line.
That's fair.